Hi, everyone. Welcome to Good Global Vibes. I'm McNeal, and today I have a special guest for you. She's a Kahu from Hawaii, from the island of Oahu, and she's Kahu Pohakuola. Kahu, welcome to the show.
Thank you, mahalo. It's so nice to be here and share today and talking about being positive. Yes.
Yes, welcome to Good Global Vibes. You were saying today that you wanted to share with the viewers the importance of creating a sacred space and about their point of view and keeping their vibe up. So what would you like to share with us?
Yes, first, what I want to share is just about the name Pohakuola, because behind me is a beautiful labyrinth, and this labyrinth is tied in with the meaning behind my name. My name was given to me by my kumu, and she woke one day and said, "Angela, I have your Hawaiian name. Would you like to know what it is?" And I said, "Sure." And then out comes Pohakuola. And I thought, everybody else has got lei, aloha, these. And so she said, and she just laughed, and she said, "It's because you love the stones and the rocks and the crystals so much, but Spirit said that you're Pohakuola." Pohaku is rock, ola is life. And with Western thinking, we would say, oh, well, then she named you that you're a living rock, but I am not. However, to me, the rocks, the crystals, the minerals, whatever you want to call them, stones, are living and they are alive and they talk, they speak, and I hear them. And I have since I was a child. And so she picked up on that. And so did the ancestors, the Hawaiian ancestors here, and they gave her my name to give to me. So this gives me responsibility that I've always had an affinity for stones and rocks and crystals through all of my life. And I'm in my later 60s. And it's still dedicated to it. With that being said, I thought with this talk about being positive and everything, is to share my labyrinth, which is standing behind me. It's formed with coral, which a lot of times people will call rocks, but it's actual coral. And then in the center is actually crystals and a really huge, large one, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But what I wanted to share is that I had been doodling labyrinths and different patterns. And one day I was sitting outside listening to nature, which is my favorite positive place to be, is listening to the birds, feeling the wind upon my face, and even have the sun kind of come and shine upon me. And the rocks, they speak. So these mountains, I was sitting out here enjoying nature, and these huge mountains back here, I can hear them speak. And they said, "Draw out the labyrinth." And I thought, what? And they said, "Draw out the labyrinth." And this backyard was totally solid coral rock, nothing growing on it like there is now. So I did, because that's my relationship with the stones that I love so much. So I drew it out, and then eventually it formed from other people coming to visit from all around the world. And whenever I would take them to a special place on the island, they would find a piece of coral and they would place it on the lines out here that outline the labyrinth. What's wonderful about labyrinths is that they only have one path in and one path out. So, when we're in our mindset and we have a tendency maybe to go a little bit in that fear factor, concerns and worries. And so then you can almost feel your mind going in all these directions. And a lot of times when people look at a labyrinth, they'll think that that's going in all directions. But I have news for you. The labyrinth has one path, and you begin at the entrance and you just put one step in front of the other, and you don't have to think or worry if you're going to take a wrong turn. It may be diverse what you're walking through, but you walk through and then you walk to the center and you become centered with yourself. And it's symbolic and it represents that. The labyrinth is one form for me to be calm and to center. Now, with that being said, this is my sacred space. Wherever I've lived, and I've lived many places, I can't even count how many times I've moved in my life, That could be very chaotic, and sometimes it was. But there would always be a part of my house that I would separate myself from, create a nice sacred corner, maybe even a chair. And today it came to me about the bathroom. Sometimes, that is one place where we can close the door and nobody's going to come in there. And we could light candles. We could put oils in our bath. We could take $1.99 rose, take the petals and let them fall in the water. Could have put on some music. These are all really inexpensive things, but they're ways that we're not only creating a sacred space, but we're taking the time to do that because we're beginning to honor ourselves. And this is how we can pull ourselves out of a doldrum or a humdrum or a dark space by ourselves creating this and not having anyone do it for us. It's even more empowering when we do it ourselves. So I wanted to share that this is a large one for me, and I share it with so many people. But I want to drop seeds that it's possible that you can create your own place, your own little space, whether it's just like putting flowers around a chair, a deck chair. If you're in a high rise in a city, you find these things. And when your creative mind starts to work, that's when you create those spaces, and it makes you feel really much better. And you do it yourself, and that feels even better.
So you're saying that by one creating their own sacred space in there where they live, that could raise their vibe.
Most definitely. Today, right now, this moment, if anybody's feeling really, enclosed or sad, you go and say, I heard that lady talk, and, maybe I can create a little space. And it came to me like your bathroom, but there could be any place. It's just yours, and you do it yourself. And it doesn't have to be elaborate. Nobody's going to see you, so you don't have to compare it to someone else's. You don't have to worry about doing it right or wrong because it's for you. So you're going to know what's right. And because I love stones so much, of course, the crystals and the stones, people put them around and they have what they call altars, and they create an altar. That's one thing too. So they're all different kinds of ideas, but we can do it ourselves, and you can do it yourself. And you'll find when you do that you're the one who knows what's best to place in that space, which is going to make you feel really good. And it doesn't involve the outside world. They're not part of your space. This is yours. There was something else, though, that I wanted to share.
Yes.
And the stones have talked to me all of my life. And these questions come up quite frequently about when my clients will say, oh, my stone or my crystal broke. I dropped it. It's shattered. Oh. And I'll say to them, isn't that amazing? So it's broken? How many pieces do you have? Oh, so you had one, but now you have many. Wow, aren't you blessed? And so it's about shifting your perception. They're in the stones and the minerals, it's seeing them from not being broken, because that's our issue primarily, is we want things to be a certain way in our life. And let's face it, sometimes we get them, but a lot of times we're so focused on what the outcome is and how we want it precisely perfect, and we're just not happy. So if we can step back from our perfection and look at what we call our imperfections in our life, maybe perhaps you could consider that you really have a lot of blessings around you. This crystal is a twin crystal, and you can kind of see it, but trust me, it's very large and it's very heavy. And when it was mined, when I found it, it was laying on its side. When it was mined, it was sheared in half, so it was laying flat, just like this. And I heard it say, I'm coming home with you. So naturally I said yes. And of all things, I didn't ask how much it was, but the woman was quite pleased to tell me it was discounted because it had the broken points on it. I was quite pleased because, well, what I just shared with you, you know where I'm heading with this, the energy of that crystal, of course. So I brought it home, I set it here, and it told me exactly what it wanted to do. And I tell you, I've seen light shoot straight into the core of the earth and up for all amazing places. And people will sometimes feel the crystals here. So that's the perfection of imperfection. And I want to leave that with you because that's something you can give yourself too, to eliminate fear or concerns or worries. Just let yourself be your perfect self, because we did choose to come here as human beings. And of course, we don't have to be perfect. And we don't have, it's unnecessary to think of someone else as being perfect. So why not allow ourselves to be just who we are, our beautiful, amazing selves, and to see the perfection of the imperfection.
I wanted to ask you, so if, for people who come to Hawaii, but they haven't lived in Hawaii, what can you tell us? What can you share with us? Yeah, that they wouldn't know unless they lived in Hawaii. What can you share with the viewers?
This is a perfect way to end our talk, because when I first came on, you shared that my name was Kahu Pohakuola, and I shared that I had received that name. I didn't just come up and read a dictionary and look for it. My kumu Kieran Lealoha Carol, who she was given the name in dream. And she said that's how she got the name. Now, I also am a Kahu. She inducted me as a Kahu. And so those names aren't something that you think, oh, wow, far out, man, that's so cool. I'm naming my kid, I don't know, Nalu for a wave, or Kai for water, or something, people, you don't just pick them. If you do, you have to realize that what you assign to yourself has meaning, and you're giving yourself a responsibility. The Hawaiians call it kuleana. So I, as Kahu, am able to give a Hawaiian name. Also, in the family, the Hawaiian family, the culture, traditionally it would be a grandparent or an elder, someone in the family, and the names come to them. They don't just pick a name out of a book and say, gee, that's for my kid. They wait for the guidance, the spiritual guidance, to get the names. And so that is the way, the appropriate Pono way to get a Hawaiian name here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I know that's probably something that people who are watching would not know, that in Hawaii, that when children are born, one of the elders or the kahu, they would name the child. And thank you so much about your perspective of, like, when something breaks, to look at it as a new opening. And then thank you for your gifts. Thank you for your gifts of speaking to the stones and the crystals and creating a sacred space. I know it's a great reminder for all of us to create a sacred space right where we are. Thank you so much for watching Good Global Vibes. And thank you to Kahu Pohakuola. If you would like to reach her, she has a website where she sells spiritual jewelry, with crystals and stones. And she also leads a tour. It's a very sacred tour she leads of Oahu. And what she does is she deepens your spiritual experience of Hawaii. So you can go to talkingtostones.com. Thank you so much. Have a great, great week. And just remember to subscribe. It's the little red button below the screen. So please subscribe, share it, comment, let us know what you want, or what ideas, or what you've discovered about raising your vibe. Aloha.